Who will win the last 5 roster spots when it comes to the Detroit Lions? I can't believe it, but the Lions' last preseason game is upon us, man. At home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then the cuts begin. And there's going to be guys that are fighting for those last couple of spots. And here are some things that I'm going to be looking for in the preseason finale. The first thing, we got to start at the top with the quarterback. We know that Jared Goff is not going to see the field, but I want to see Hendon Hooker get, according to Dan Campbell, he's going to start. So I want to see him, instead of that late game after the half coming out, I want to see him take control from the very beginning. I want to see him get comfortable, see how long it takes him to get comfortable. We were talking about, and also Hendon Hooker playing in the first half is going to have a ripple effect when it comes to other individuals starting to make the roster. We saw last week that Hendon was smart. His mom told him to slide. He started sliding, came out of the game, unscathed. So I want to see him take control of the offense from the very beginning. What would it be like if he does indeed win the backup job and he comes out and we have to see him for a game or two? Something, maybe Jared gets COVID and he has to come out and for a game. I want to see him take control of the offense. I would like to see those beautiful passes be on target. So you have, like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? What makes somebody worse? In the comment section, I hear about receivers. They can't really shine when you have Nate Sudfeld throwing them the ball. Then you have, Hendon Hooker can't shine when you have third and fourth string receivers. Well, I think they got to work together. These are NFL players. They have to find a way in order to coexist, because their future in the NFL depends on it. So I want to see the growth of Hendon Hooker. Has he really earned the number 2 quarterback spot, or will the Detroit Lions do something they haven't done in a while and keep 3 quarterbacks on their roster? The backup offensive line. Can the backup offensive line continue to build on the success that it built up last week? Week 1, abysmal. Week 2, leaps better. So I want to see those guys, and can they create running lanes for our running backs? Their pass protection was much better, but that run, opening up the run lanes, man, was not too much improved. Vaki had to do with what he had. You know what I'm saying? Even Craig Reynolds, the brief period we saw him in there. So what are we going to see? Can the offensive line pick up where they left off and do a little bit better, create those holes for the running back to get through, man, so we can actually see some guys that are fighting for roster spots showcase their talent. I want to see what the wide receiver, that's probably the biggest battle. Nope. The second biggest battle. The biggest battle, man, second biggest battle, wide receiver. Who's going to step up? Who's going to step up? We have no idea who's going to be wide receiver number 4. I don't think he's on this team personally. Is Donovan Peoples-Jones going to show what he's capable of? Now, again, we're going to go back to the quarterback position. How Donovan Peoples-Jones can't shine with Sudfeld. Donovan Peoples-Jones, Hendon Hooker. We need to see Donovan an entire half. He might actually need to be targeted, but you can't take away targets from other guys trying to make the team, right? And those other guys are Caden Davis, Isaiah Williams. Heard a very concerning thing from Dan Campbell about basically Isaiah Williams is slot. We need a outside guy. Isaiah doesn't fit that. We can put him out there, but he doesn't fit that. So we might, he didn't say this, I'm adding this part in, we might lean toward a big body guy, because that's one spot we don't have. So which wide receiver will step up? Will it be Davis? Will it be, I have to sneeze. Will it be Davis? Will it be any one of these guys, right? Who's going to step up? I want to see, I think the secondary is solid. I think we know what we're getting from Arnold and Rakestraw and those guys. We're not going to see Kirby. We're not going to see Branch. So Brandon Joseph, stuff like that. The secondary is pretty much stout. I want to see linebackers same way, same thing. So now let's go to the edge position. If you look on, before we do that, let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Outside of the wide receiver, everything else is set. Jameer, Monty, 3 or 4, right? Running back. Then offensive line set, quarterback set. Outside of the backup quarterback and the wide receiver room, we're set on offense. So defense, let's go back to the defensive line. The defensive line. Who's going to step up? You've got Ukwu, you've got Agude, you've got Matthew Betts, and you have James Houston. We talked about earlier in a video today about James Houston getting traded potentially, right? Or I mean, either way, he's on the bubble, whether you like it or not. It seems like a lot of analysts, a lot of pundits are kind of coming around to what I've been feeling for the last couple of weeks is that James Houston is his pass rushing, being just able to pass rush could be a liability or it could be a specialty. It all depends on how the Detroit Lions see him. So who's going to make the team? Now, Dan Campbell talked about earlier about basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, how you might have to, you might keep so many spots at this position because you wanted to add one here. So are they going to do that? Are they going to, because I feel like out of those four, one is going to make the team, two are going to go into the practice squad, and one is going to have to find a new team. Which one will it be? Right now, got to be honest with you. If I had to pick right now, I think Uku is probably in the lead. I hate to say it, man, but I think Agude and Betts are kind of tied, and this is no hate on James Houston. He hasn't played. He's played a little bit of game one. He hasn't played. So do the Detroit Lions. So I think he's last. I think James Houston, honestly, is outside the bubble. I think on the bubble, one of them guys gonna make the team. So I think Agude and Betts are on the bubble. Uku is inside on the roster, and James Houston is outside the bubble. Let me ask you this, and this is not a rhetorical question. Put it in the comment section. Can you honestly say right now, if you remove 2022 and those 8 sacks in 7 games, can you justify James Houston being on this roster over those other guys? You can't. I think the one furthest from making a team is Matthew Betts. He made a great case tomorrow. And I'm talking about tomorrow is like, again, we got to go back to Rocky 4. Favorite Rocky, best Rocky, hands down, right? Go back to Rocky 4. I don't know if a lot of y'all know this. So I'm 45, right? Rocky 4, I was still little from Rocky 3, Clubber Lang and all that. I didn't really kind of get Rocky unfortunately, till Rocky 5. But I want you to remember something about Rocky 4. So Rocky 4 was an exhibition. It's supposed to be an exhibition. You hear me? An exhibition. All my Rocky people know what I'm talking about. So it's 2 parts in Rocky. And this has a point. It's 2 parts in Rocky 4. Paulo's, spoiler alert, Paulo's already dead. Duke says to Rocky up in the attic in Russia, to win, no, he says, you know what you have to do. Do it. Do it, right? So that's before Hearts on Fire and the training montage. This all has a point. Just stay with me. Now we get into the fight. The montage goes, war's playing, Rocky, the crowd starts to chant Rocky. Now we're in the 15th round. That's right, 15 rounds this thing goes. At the end of and here's the point, at the end of that fight, of those 14 rounds, the Russian had not hit the dirt one time. He had not hit the mat one time. Rocky was down. Fight should have been called, really. But I guess it was an exhibition. They didn't call it. He should have been down, except the Russian never hit the dirt. He never once touched the mat. So Duke in the corner. It's the last round. See, he says to win, you got to knock him out. You got to punch and punch till you can't punch no more. This is your whole life. Why did I go through the Rocky 4 recap? Because this is some of these guys. They got to punch and punch till they can't punch anymore. It's going to be guys that one play is going to determine whether or not their body of work has done enough for them to make the team. So you got Betts, who's flashing. I think the most consistent has been Uku. You've got Agude, flash. You've got James Houston, MIA. We're still holding on to 2022. So who's going to have their Rocky 4 moment? Who's going to punch and punch till they can't punch anymore? Who is going to make the Detroit Lions 53-man roster based off of tomorrow, their performance taking over the edge? Because you got to imagine a seesaw. I mean, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes doing this. And tomorrow plays fumbling, dropping passes, not being where you're supposed to be, not making tackles. Those things are going to make the difference between you making the 53-man roster, you being in consideration for the practice squad, and you having to find another team. And in the case of Isaiah Williams and Uku, don't forget, if Uku does not land on an NFL roster, he is in the UFL in March. Who's going to have their Rocky IV moment tomorrow? I'm myself. This is no hate, man. I'm myself. I would love to see Betts. I really would, because he fits everything that we're trying to do. And he's very good at getting to the quarterback in the CFL anyway. He got to prove himself. I would love to see the opportunity for him to prove himself. And then I think after that would have to be Uku. The dude has worked consistently hard to make it. So will the Detroit Lions pull a rabbit and have two of those guys on the roster? But like I said earlier, I see one of those guys making the team, two going on the practice squad, and one not. And if James Houston is the one not, James Houston will be on an NFL roster in 2024. Will it be the Detroit Lions? We will find out in the next week. We really will, because even after that initial 53-man roster, doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. The 53-man roster is literally, the initial 53-man roster is literally that for about 5 minutes. You see, and I feel bad for them guys because they're probably like, whoo, we made it. And then they gone just like that. We've seen it happen all the time. That's why it's called the initial 53-man roster, because it almost immediately becomes something else. So let me know, what would you like to see tomorrow? Who are you rooting for? I mean, obviously anybody that plays for the Detroit Lions, but who would you like to see make the team? Who do you think has done enough? Who do you think, well, who do you do this? Which player or players do you think with a performance tomorrow, a stellar, I'm talking about flawless. I'm talking about if it's offense, they're catching everything. If it's defense, they're sacking people, breaking up plays. Which player or players do you think can really separate themselves after tomorrow's game enough to make the team? And which players do you think go on the practice squad? So for me, heading into tomorrow's game, I think it's Uku's spot to lose. I would love to see Betts, but I think he's number 3. He would have to just, but again, they need to play. They need to play. So it's even more, they have to be more concise with the time that they have. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, because I would appreciate that, man. And consider subscribing to the YouTube channel as well, because Dan Campbell says you should. Right? Look at this face. Look at what he's trying to say. Says, what are you doing? Looks like 44.5% of the people who watch this channel in the last 28 days are not subscribed. 55% of you are. I thank you for that, because you are the reason that this channel has the success that it does. You all do, really. Everyone who watches, but subscribers is how we get to giveaways. That's how we get more influence to do more things, to be able to maybe get noticed by somebody with the NFL and be able to, get somewhere to bring you guys more fan-based things. Because in case you don't know, that is what I want to do. I do not want to work for the Lions. I don't want to do anything for the NFL unless it involves doing something directly for you. If I am the conduit, if you will, between the Detroit Lions and you guys, I would love to be the conduit. So help make me the conduit by subscribing to the YouTube channel, getting the numbers up, and then we can get enough influence to be noticed by somebody who got some pull that I can do different things. Trust me, none of this stuff is for me. Trust me when I say that. This right here is enough for me, just having you guys watch, because guess what? Can't nobody tell me what I can and cannot say. The worst thing I got to deal with is y'all in the comment section, calling me whatever and wanting me to wear a clown suit. That's it. So consider, man, it would mean the world to me. This channel is brought to you by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. If you are going to the game tomorrow, I will be there. I will not be live streaming, but we will have a post-game show as soon as I walk through the door. So be ready for that. Things will proceed as usual. I hope we'll be at the Rams game. And after that, week 2, we're on as we host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm sure they're looking for a rematch. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. We got Lions football tomorrow. And then 15 days after that, we got LA Rams coming in town. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. Listen to Dan Campbell. I would appreciate it.